stay too long. I was actually going to try to do this live cast thing. I'm trying to get a little fancier with technology. Y'all probably used to me doing bootleg stuff. But the good thing is that we attract more substance over flash. And so I'm going to talk for a few minutes and just kind of do this for a second just to see if it's going through. I have no idea if it's even transmitting properly or anything, but I'm going to give it a try, and hopefully somebody on the other side can hear me. I almost feel like I'm talking to aliens or something, because you know how it is when they send out the signal, they don't know if anybody's actually hearing it. So anyway, I'm sitting here, and what I'm actually trying to do is I'm testing out the ability to do Facebook Live, and I can already tell right now, one thing that's screwed up right now is that the live stream appears to be it has an old title. It looks like the title's old. The title's from Aisha Curry and Stephen A. Smith, something I did a long time ago. But I'd love for you guys to give me a comment. Let me know. Just tell me, say, hey, Doc, I can hear you. It's coming through good. Or, hey, Doc, you sound crazy. You look crazy. You got a lag. And so, in fact, I'm going to test the delay by holding my finger, and I'm going to count. And I want you to tell me if there's a delay between when I hold my finger up and what I say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want you guys to tell me if it looked like it was pretty much in sync, or once again if it was just crazy and off the chain. So anyway, I apologize for making this something that doesn't make any sense. In fact, what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna take this thing out, this headset. I don't even know if I need the headset. I was thinking about it. I was like, why do I need the headset actually? So I'm taking the headset out now, and I'm going to listen to the audio and see what it sounds like with the headset. So I could use your help, and if you could tell me if you can hear me. If you can hear me, by the way, I am coming to Houston pretty soon. We're going to do the weekend, what I call it, the Financial Juneteenth Film and Edutainment Festival. And basically that's going to be a weekend festival where we're going to show Hidden Colors 4 twice. We're also going to show Resurrecting Black Wall Street. We're also going to have several lectures. One of them is putting an end to black economic coonery. You sign up at the Black Business School. If you go to Dr. Boyce Houston, you can sign up. And basically everything's pretty much free to people who sign up for class. And that's pretty much how I set it all. Now, we will sell tickets at the door, whatever's left. But the students who sign up for the class online will get top priority. And the tickets were set low because we're experimenting with this process to see if it's going to work. So if you live in H-Town, come on by. I'm gonna do several lectures. One is on how to turn your child into a millionaire. Another one's gonna be on I had another one the first day. I have to remember what the topic was, but I have it written down somewhere. But go to drboycehouston.com if you want to check that out. Also, don't forget we have a Black Financial Leadership Program for children, which is basically a 5-week boot camp to get kids ready. So you can check out the Black Financial Leadership Boot Camp by going to blackfinancialleadership.com. That's blackfinancialleadership.com. Anyway, there's a lot going on. So let me know what you think about this live stream thing, and I apologize if the title's old and janky. In fact, I'm actually going to try to go to the page now and see if anybody's made a comment. I see a lot of I see some thumbs up, but I don't think this is relevant to this particular. Wait a minute, hold up, wait. What? Hold on. I'm seeing comments. Okay, let me see here. Looney, Doc, you took off the headphones. When are you coming to Atlanta? It sounds good. I'm good. I'm coming through. Somebody say you're good. Say something like that, so I'll know. If you say you're good, then I will know that I'm coming through. So let me see here. Let's check it out. Let me see here. Live stream is cool. I see that. Okay. I see. We've been commenting for ages. Hey, Boyce, you're live. All right, you're good, you're great, you're good. Okay, all right. So do I sound good? So the audio quality, it's nice quality, or does it just sound like the same old shit I've been doing for the last 5 years? If it sounds just like the same ratchet shit I've been doing, then, what's the point? Is there any progress? Look at you man. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna stop for a minute because I got to tell y'all, man, I love y'all. I love you. Even the people who show up just so they can throw shade, I love you too. And the reason is because You wouldn't be here throwing shade if you didn't have some respect. The reason that you're here, the reason you show up to throw shade is because you have respect. Because you know that my number one goal is to speak the truth. Is to be honest. Is to do what's right for my people. And so even when you disagree, even when you attack, even when you say, "Oh man, he's full of it. He's an idiot." Blah 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 blah. You know that I'm doing this for the right reasons. I mean, I'm not out here trying to be shisty. I'm not trying to be like a black pastor trying to milk you and fool you into stuff. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I'm trying to do what I do naturally, which is actually teach. I love to teach. So you guys get a chance to say that you're part of the very first YouTube live stream I've ever done in my life. What I'm actually doing is pull in people from Black Knowledge on my phone so they can kind of watch some of this, so we can just go live on Black Knowledge too. That way we can have really good distribution. What I wanted to talk about today actually was I wanted to talk about white people. And I know that that's just such either an incredibly popular or unpopular topic. But actually, scratch it. I want to talk about black people in terms of how we think about white people. And so here's what I thought about today. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about how I go to a lot of websites of, say, so-called mainstream black people, black people who have jobs with like white media publications like Black Voices or The Root or The Griot, the Griot. So I'm sorry, I think The Griot is actually owned by a brother now, so I take that back. The Griot was owned by NBC, but Byron Allen just bought it. But I'll look at black people who or BET, these media outlets that are actually owned by white people, but they're run by black people in some cases, but the black people work for the white people, which really, again, that's indicative of a double standard for you that doesn't apply to anybody else. Because Dame Dash made this point. I didn't make it. And it's funny, Dame's not as racially conscious as I am, but he said, I don't think I would ever be allowed to run a media outlet for the Jewish community. He said, I don't think I would ever be allowed to be the CEO of the biggest Jewish media outlet in the country. Jews wouldn't trust me. And I said that's interesting, because if you flip that, black people, we get kind of fed everything by other people, other communities, and that's something that a lot of that comes just back from the fact that we're just not used to having our own. Like, learning how to have your own is like, it's like, think about it. Imagine a kid who is getting his own apartment for the first time, right? He's really excited about that, right? He's being introduced to kind of a whole new world, but he also doesn't know the responsibilities of having your own. He doesn't know what it takes to really get his own. He probably thinks that he's, more mature than he is, that he's more ready than he is. And he gets out there, he's going to kind of be shell-shocked at first for a while. And he might even end up getting evicted because maybe he spends up all his money because he doesn't know how hard it is to build and to get something of your own and to hold on to that. And I think for black people, we unfortunately have a dependence on whites that's really just bred into us. I mean, from the time you're a little kid, you're not used to black people owning shit. You're really used to other people owning everything. In fact, I just saw this great thing. I saw my brother Umar Johnson on The Breakfast Club, and he brought up some points about foreigners coming in and buying up everything in the hood, and I thought he delivered it very, very well. The lack of access to capital is actually the biggest problem that we have in the black community. That if we fix that issue, if we were able to raise capital and help each other raise money, that would solve a lot of problems. The black unemployment problem will not be solved by getting black people to get more jobs working for white people. That would only put you more indebted to white supremacy. So anyway, give me a second here. Okay, so anyway, one of the things I wanted to kind of jump into was, now we're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. See, I mean, tell me I'm not looking just super sophisticated right now. I mean, seriously, how cool is that? How cool is that? We're streaming in both places, and I got this big old microphone that's really heavy. I could hit somebody in the head and probably kill them with this microphone, and that just makes you look just so cool. I'm not used to having swag. I'm like the most swagless dude known to man. I don't, swag is not my strength, but right now I'm feeling quite swagged out because I'm able to say I'm going live on multiple platforms, and I'm talking to my people and teaching in a way that's really authentic. I love it because I'm not we're not in situations where we're kind of hoping that some university will give me a job and give me the chance to teach you. I know that when I was at Syracuse University, I went through hell, just kind of dealing with them, kind of getting them to let me do what I do best. I would tell them like, wait a minute, I'm good at what I do, talking to black people. I'm very good at that. And I would go to them and I would fill out forms and ask for permission to do certain things. And they would be like, oh, well, request denied. And I remember being really mad. And then I remember kind of saying, well, really when I think about it, maybe I've been trained to believe that they have the right and the ability to tell me if I should have the chance to talk to my people. For example, I remember in academia, we had this thing called tenure. You might have heard of tenure. In case you haven't heard of it, tenure is where scholars have, they get a lifetime job. So it's kind of like welfare for smart people, basically. That's what tenure is. And so okay, I'm hearing people on Facebook saying you can't hear. Are you able to hear? Okay, it looks like they can't hear. And so anyway, okay, I'm gonna have to shut this off because there's no volume. All right, so anyway, the tenure thing was really interesting to observe, because what I would see black people kind of black scholars really killing their own voices and really doing a whole lot of coonery in order to get this tenure thing. And I remember thinking about, okay, what is tenure really? Really, tenure means that you don't have to worry about being unemployed. You're going to have a job for the rest of your life. It's not necessarily a high paying job. It's a decent paying job. And it's an easy job sometimes, like you get the summers off and stuff like that. But I was like, maybe there are other ways to have financial security that don't involve me selling my entire soul. Maybe I can have financial security in a way that doesn't require me to spend 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years not speaking up on issues that are important to my people. Maybe I can find a way to, get ahead and to be financially safe without waiting for somebody to kind of give me that security. And so, long story short, that's what led me down the pathway to entrepreneurship. And that's why I always say to this day, the most valuable thing you can learn as a black person is how to start a business and to really be committed to it, like a religion. I mean, the same way, if we committed half the energy we commit to playing basketball, we would be the greatest business owners in the history of the world. We would own everything. Forget what the Jews own. Forget what white people were doing. We would literally own everything. Everything. But we don't believe in ourselves. We dream the wrong dream. We aim for the wrong prize, and it just makes us look stupid, So I don't know. But anyway, before I jump into more of this conversation, because I really wanted to talk about this whole infatuation, this love we have for white people. Do me this favor. If you want to get a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. If you are interested in going to our event in Houston, we're actually doing the first ever Financial Juneteenth Film and Edutainment Festival. It's going to be in Houston because I just love Houston. Houston's shown just so much more love for me than almost any city that I've been to other than Chicago. I get mad love in Chicago. That's my home city. When we had our film premiere in Chicago, we had a packed house. We filled up the Harold Washington Center. People were lined up down the street, around the corner. It was really touching. Houston is close to Chicago in terms of that love. I haven't seen that much love from other cities. I've seen love from other cities. Don't get me wrong. I can go to a lot of cities and there is support and respect. Los Angeles was awesome, places like that. But Houston's just a place where I kind of feel like it's a place where people can use the information. It's also a place where I feel comfortable kind of launching new things. So I'm going to try this festival out in Houston. Basically, the way we set it up is like this. It's not a one-time event. It's basically something where Black Business School. If you go to drboycehouston.com, you can sign up. So you go to drboycehouston.com, you sign up for a course. Everybody in the course gets in free. Basically, we have 3 days of events. If you sign up for the course at a $20 level, then you'll get into at least one of the screenings free. If you sign up at a different level, up to like $100, you can get into everything for all 3 days for free, which is a very reasonable price considering what you get. We're going to show hidden colors, and we're going to not just watch it. We're going to talk about hidden colors and what it means, and just kind of internalizing the recommendations that Tariq and the other experts and myself, I'm one of the experts as well, that we make at the end. We're also going to watch Resurrecting Black Wall Street and talk about that, talk about the Black Wall Street atrocity and how we can grow from that. I actually put together a lecture specifically for this event called Bringing an End to Black Economic Coonery. How we can support our own, build our businesses, support our banks. It comes down to things like, what does it mean for a business to be black? What does it mean for a bank to be black? There are a lot of things that we still don't know about this economic revolution that we need to understand in order to do it the right way. In order for us to really, sort of seize the moment and really build off of this, we have to absolutely positively, kind of really embrace financial literacy. Financial literacy is the key to all of this. That's the key to breaking out of your oppression. I just, can't get everybody to listen. I talked to somebody today, and he said, well, Dr. Boyce, we're going to have an event and we're going to charge $10. And I said, well, is that going to cover your costs? He said, no. I said, well, why don't you charge a price that'll cover your costs? Because, why are you going to try, why are you going broke trying to do this? I know that money is hard for you to get. And he said, well, because we don't want the money to be the reason that people don't come out. And I said, well, look, you're giving people information that can change their whole life. This is the information that's helped me make millions of dollars. This is the information that if somebody applies these ideas, literally the whole future of their families change for generations, for many generations. I said, if you ain't willing to pay $10 for that or $20 for that, then maybe you're not even ready. Maybe that you won't value the information, because if you want education, then you don't value education. In your mind, your value on education is $20. But your value on going to the club might be $90, or your value of going to the Kevin Hart comedy show might be $40, or your value on going on vacation might be $1,000. But your value on education should exceed everything else, And I would just tell you, I'm not trying to say that you should let people milk you. But I just think it's real funny, though. You got smart black people out here offering really valuable skill, valuable information to you. This information is the same stuff those white kids used to pay $50,000 a year to learn at Syracuse. The only difference is I teach you guys more because I've learned more. I actually know how to run my own business now. I didn't know how to do that when I was at Syracuse. And it's kind of funny when people will say, I can't afford $80 for the class or something like that. I'm just like, wait, I don't get that. Wait, you just spent $150 on some stuff that you ain't even using. You just bought $200 shoes. You just, you spent $90 last week at McDonald's and Starbucks. Like, I don't get it. So, so what I would just generally say is, I see Taval saying, stop the race hustling. You can call it what you want, but I'm gonna say this. I doubt if you go into that white man's business and you ask him, you tell him, you scream poverty and you ask for his stuff for free, he's going to tell you to get your black ass out the door. And the fact of the matter is that one of the ways that black people have been hypnotized is that we have been trained to believe that we are nothing but a charity case. You've been trained to believe that you're so weak and pathetic that you can't even educate your own children because you won't invest in educating your own children. But you go out here and spend money on things you don't need, but you'll beg for the things that you do need. And the thing about freedom is that freedom really truly is not free. You've heard people say freedom isn't free. What does that mean? That means that if you talk shit like you on your own, if you stand up to the white man, stand up to oppression and tell the white man what you is and what you is not going to do, then he's going to go pay your own bills. Just like you would do with your child. If you got a teenage child acting like he's grown, you're going to say, okay, well, why don't you go get your own place? Under my roof, you're not grown. So when you're under somebody else's economic roof, you're not grown. You're what I call economically immature. That's what you are. I see Donnie begging me to come to Little Rock. I can't come to Little Rock because I don't think that there would be enough people that would want to come out in Little Rock. We have to have critical masses. That's the problem. That's what makes live events hard. But the reason I love the internet is because I can talk to you about all kinds of stuff right here from my house. Don't cost me no money, don't cost you no money. Or I can teach you with specific lectures we create in the Black Business School. We can keep the price low because we don't have to spend a ton of money bringing a whole crew out to Little Rock, right? So I would love to come to Little Rock and give you a hug and be in your presence. That is my dream. I mean, when I meet y'all on the street, I'm walking down the street, I swear, I will walking down the street, I'll see people, a lot of brothers, sisters too, but I'll see brothers. It'll be like a cop down the street, be like, "Hey, what's up, Dr. Boyce?" Or it'll be like a truck driver, you literally yelling from the truck, "Dr. Boyce, what's up?" And I love that. I mean, that really touches me because that's like, man, like they really feel a connection. And that's what I want. Because if people talk about branding and sort of, what image you seek to project. Sorry, that's my alarm going off, reminding me I got to record a segment for the movie I'm doing with Damon Dash this summer, Too Honorable. I do some audio for the film. They told me to send some audio over, so I got to actually record that today. And since I have my fancy new microphone, maybe I can do it here. Anyway, if you want to know anything about the image that I'm going to say I try to project an image. I just try to make sure I behave decent. You know what I mean? I don't try to make a complete ass of myself, even though half the time I'll say stuff and be like, man, did I really say that? Anyway, if you want to know kind of what I think in terms of the person that I like to be, I just like being honest and authentic because I believe in honesty. I believe that honesty makes it easy for you to just be yourself because you're not trying to sort of keep up with this ghost that you created that isn't real, and you have to move when the ghost moves and stand behind the ghost. It doesn't mean that I throw all my business out there or that I'm just gonna be just completely overly raw with it. But it does mean that, most of the time I like to just be myself, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Because sometimes you'll see people that'll be very flashy. They'll for example, there's people that manipulate black people because they speak a certain way. They know that if they, like pastors are real good at this. And there's some people who are not pastors, who are outside of that, like maybe in the conscious community, who know that if they communicate something in a certain way with a certain rhythm to it, that you're going to really buy into it because it sounds so good, because people pay more attention to how something sounds than they actually pay attention to what they're actually saying, right? So a lot of times, saying certain things, even if something's stupid and it comes with like a flow, a beat, a rhythm to it, people will take that as gospel, even if it's stupid. Like one day, if you ever really critically thinking, go listen to like some of the pastors that you might see in the church. Listen to how they talk. Like there's this really interesting clip that Sharpton put out, Al Sharpton, where he's in a church and he's like literally singing, and he's like, I've been shot, and then you hear the organ, I've been stabbed, I've been prosecuted, and and like he's literally doing this, rhythmic thing. He ain't saying nothing, but he's getting people riled up and excited. And now I'm gonna tell you this, I ain't gonna lie. The idea of a man doing that with a microphone, it seemed a little weird to me, but I'm not dissing him. I'm just saying, for real. So anyway, but he kept doing his, yeah. And I was like, for me, that doesn't work very well because, I guess because I trained myself to be a thinker. I think hard about everything. If I'm talking to you, if you ever meet me and you're talking to me and you're telling me your story, I'm literally going to be looking at you like this. And the reason I'm looking at you like this is because I'm literally breaking down and analyzing everything you said, trying to put myself inside of what you're saying so that I can understand and empathize and connect and internalize and be able to appreciate what you're trying to say to me. So when I hear like some of the pastors talk, I'll be like, he talked for 20 minutes and said one thing. He kept repeating himself, and that's it. And people like that because it sounds good, but really, I felt like there was kind of an audience. So there's like, and I would say if you're in that category, if you're a person that can watch that stuff and sit there and be like, man, that was a bunch of bullshit. Like I'm for you. That's why I'm here. Maybe I'm like the pastor for the people that actually use their brain a lot, who are actually processing information. And so everything I say may not sound cool. It may not sound flashy, but it's at least going to make you think. So anyway, liberty saying insinuating a man giving a blowjob. I didn't say that, but I mean, you ain't gonna see me stand in front of a crowd with a microphone doing like that. Was weird to me. I thought that was very strange. But anyway, okay. Mayo says capitalism will hurt us more than help us. I think capitalism, the way white people do it, can hurt you. I think that the way white people practice capitalism is very, very harmful to the world. It's built on greed. It's very extreme, and I don't recommend it. I personally think free enterprise is good for an economy. I think that having businesses is a very good thing. I think that because I think not having businesses means that you still gonna have to pay the rent. You still gonna need food and water and shelter and security. Those things cost money in a free society in the world. And so what you find historically, from what I've seen, is you've seen countries where people have rejected capitalism altogether. Those countries, unfortunately, tend to have extreme poverty. And so I don't think capitalism in itself is a bad thing on its own. But it's really a lot like this. It's powerful, like fire. Fire doesn't really have a heart. Fire doesn't care if it's helping you or if it's hurting you. It's just fire. All it knows how to do is burn things, right? Or heat things up. And so if you use fire in a way that's irresponsible, then fire can be the most destructive thing you've ever seen. It can make people say, oh, I hate fire. Well, I want to live in a fireproof house. I want to make sure everything's not flammable. If I see somebody lighting a fire, I'm going to run, right? But is that the right reaction? Maybe not. Maybe the reaction is don't reject fire altogether to the point where you're freezing. Let's control the fire. We start a flame. We make sure it's used for something good as opposed to something bad. And we don't abuse that power. So in America, what's happened is that we have abused capitalism. And Hidden Colors 4, I'm actually in Hidden Colors 4, which you can actually buy at Hidden Colors, HiddenColorsBundlePack.com. Then we have a bundle pack that comes with a free course in the Black Business School and a lecture by Tariq Nasheed that you're not going to see anywhere else. He actually rolled through the Black Business School along with Dr. Claude Anderson, Julianne Malveaux. We bring the best and brightest black people to you that you won't see at these major universities. But anyway, Tariq rolled through, and I brought Tariq in because I respect Tariq as a man. He's a builder. I text Tariq just this morning. I can show you. Let me see. I bet you Tariq texted me back. Let me see here. I can show you guys what Tariq texted me. I'm not going to tell you what he sent, though. I'm not going to disrespect that. But yeah, so here's Tariq. And basically, you can see Tariq's name, right? I don't know if you can see that real quick. I have to show it fast because I can't be showing a man's private business. But Tariq and I talk all the time, and I talk to him a lot because I respect him as a man, for what he's built, for what he's done. And so anyway, if you want to order the class or with Hidden Colors, you can go to HiddenColorsBundlePack.com, and in there's that lecture that Tariq gave in the Black Business School. Now somebody asked me. Okay, Darian saying, can you periscope more often? Yes, Darian, I promise you I will. That's the second time Darian asked the question. Somebody else asked, did I see Umar in the Breakfast Club? I did not see it, but I saw one clip that he did that was very good, where he was basically explaining why black businesses don't develop as fast as the businesses of foreigners, because many of them come over with a line of credit from their home country. And that's true. A lot of them do. And I think that's something to be talked about. Also, a lot of people from other countries, they're not the typical person in that country. Like, the people that come to the United States from China tend to be exceptional. They tend to be the smartest. They tend to be the most ambitious. When I taught a class in China, all my students wanted to come to the United States. Almost all of them wanted to come to the U.S. But only the very best actually got a chance to do that. You see, so basically what you're kind of seeing from other countries is not so much the norm. You're seeing the exceptional people, from those countries. Now, one point that I want to add to that, though, is I think it's nice. It's easy for us to kind of blame the narrative on the fact that foreign people have these lines of credit, stuff like that. But they don't all have that. Some of them come over here and they're poor. Some of them come over here and don't have much of anything. But you know what they have that we can benefit from is they have a mindset, number one, that values family. They work together. They stick together. With a lot of Mexican families I know, if you could have 20 of them, and if any of them got a house, ain't none of them going to be homeless. If one of them has a house, all of them going to share the house. If one of them has a business, all of them going to come work in the business. And the other thing that they do is they're very good at pooling their resources. So and so when they pool those resources, what are they thinking about doing with that money? Are they going to go spend it and so they can look good and go to the mall and all that? No, they pool their resources so they can buy a business because they're thinking this business can breed other businesses. They're thinking like business owners. And black people, we have enough money in our community. Everybody want to talk about what black people ain't got. Fuck that. Let's quit talking about what black people ain't got. Let's talk about what we got. We have enough money that if we were a country, we'd be the 9th richest country in the world. We have plenty of money. Stop believing black people ain't got no money. If you don't believe black people ain't got money, look at how many industries we support because we go out and buy their products. That shows you how much money we have. Everybody knows how much money we have. That's why they sell so much stuff to us, because they're looking at us and saying, these people are crazy. We give them products and we sell things to them and they just keep buying them. They don't ask us for nothing back. They don't compete with us in industry. They're not trying to be like us. All the kids are trying to be young thugs, so none of them are trying to compete with Mark Zuckerberg. That's the problem. It's about mindset too. Mindset plays a part. Now, did you get that? Did you create that mindset on your own? No, you didn't. But the mindset is something that you have to confront. The mindset did come from the fact that your people have been abused so much. We've been mistreated so much by white folks. White folks have done horrible things to us to the point where we are completely traumatized. We know this. We know that also we built wealth in the past. We have owners and business owners and captains of industry in our history. Go watch Resurrecting Black Wall Street. That's one example out of 1,000. But, at the same time, we were fooled by this integration thing. We were taught to believe that integrating with white people was going to make our lives better. It really didn't make our lives that much better. What it did was it gave you instant gratification. It gave you instant validation. It gave you instant ability to associate with things that you deemed to be more important than the things that you were already associated with. You were already with your people, but who wants to be around black people? You wanted to be around white people. You wanted to be part of their businesses. You wanted those high-paying jobs. You wanted that fancy office. You wanted that validation. You wanted to go to his university. You wanted all these things because he's got everything built up and you didn't have as much as he had. And so what I'm trying to say is let's flip that logic. Let's flip it. When I'm in the Black Wealth Bootcamp, which we start actually August, go sign up for it if you're interested. We start in early August. In the Black Wealth Bootcamp, the first thing that I do, it's at theblackwwealthbootcamp.com, by the way, theblackwwealthbootcamp.com. The first thing I try to do is help people understand that wealth building is a matter of shifting our mindset in terms of how we see ourselves, how we see our community, how we see the economy. And when you shift the mindset, what that does is that leads you to understand that owning things is where the power's at. Controlling things is where the power's at. So if you think like an owner, if you think like a producer, here's how a self-made millionaire or a /producer/investor thinks. When you let's say you have a room full of people and a room full of kids, and they're all 10 years old. And one of the kids, let's say, went through our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program where we teach these ideas I'm talking to you about. The kid who's in the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, if you give them all $20, the kid in the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program is going to have more money 2 months later than all the other kids in the room. Why? Well, because all the other kids in the room, unfortunately, because they were never are going to say, oh, I got $20. I want to spend this. I can go buy candy. I can buy shoes. I saw the new Jordans or whatever it is they think they can buy for $20. You can't buy Jordans for $20, but you get the point. The kid who is trained on the power of ownership, the power of being a producer, the power of being an investor is going to say $20 is cool, but how can I flip this and make this into 50? I bet you if I make the right strategic move, I can flip this into more money, right? So they all want money, but there's a difference between somebody who's playing checkers and somebody who's playing chess. A chess player will make a sacrifice in move 1 so that he can kill your ass in move 6. A checkers player is thinking one step at a time, one move at a time, the next move. So they get the 20, they spend the 20, and then they go out and beg for another 20 so they can keep having money to spend. It becomes this really ridiculous cycle. So So anyway, so that kid who's thinking on the flip is going to say, okay, I can take this 20. Maybe I can spend 5, but I can take 15 of it and I can go buy $15 worth of wholesale candy. These kids around here are fiending for candy. So I can take this $15 worth of wholesale candy, flip that into $40 after I sell the candy. Then I'll have $40. And then I can spend 10, then I'll take 30, I'll buy $30 worth of candy. That 30 flips into 80. So within a few weeks, that kid is going to have more money than everybody else and more power. And because the people that have the power in a capitalist society are the people who control the means of production. That's where power is. So if I could say the term means of production and your child doesn't know what that means you're already behind the 8 ball in terms of preparing your child to compete in this society. Because while you may not want to talk to your child about money, believe me, there's a little white kid or a Jewish kid across town right now who's the same age as your little girl or your little boy, and they're being taught how to come into your hood, your child's hood, and take all of his money. So understand that it's extremely important to make sure we got to understand how this game is played. So, I think that these conversations are important in terms of talking about the oppression, discussing what was done to us, finding ways to kind of confront that. But then after that conversation's done, I want to talk about conversations that lead to solutions that help us figure out how do we make things better. All right. Quick break. If you haven't got a copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, I'm giving away free e-copies of the book. You can go to drboycewatkins.net, not .com. That's drboycewatkins.net. Also, if you're interested in teaching wealth building to your kids, we do have a low-cost program called at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. I've thought about this a lot, and this isn't just theory. This is practice. This is stuff I've done in my own life. And basically, I strongly believe, based on what I have seen, that if you follow specific steps, you can almost guarantee that your child is going to be a millionaire. Or at the very least, you can guarantee your child won't be an economic victim. See, economic victims are people who tend to feel like, and I'm not making fun of poor people or nothing like that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying here is that in a capitalist society, economic victims tend to be people who don't have what they need and don't know how to get it. Those are the two things that'll make you feel victimized. Those are the two things that'll leave you depressed. They did research on rats, and they found that rats that they shocked them. They would shock them repeatedly, and they never knew when the shocks were coming, and they hurt. And they had some rats where they figured out what to do. They could go pull a lever and make the shock stop. The other rats couldn't do that. The other rats had to just sit there and deal with it, and they were just like, man, they hated it, but they couldn't stop it. Well, they found that the rats who couldn't control their situation, who felt like they were just products of their environment instead of their environment being a product of them, those rats actually were more depressed. Those rats, they measured depression by the serotonin in your brain. And they found that those rats actually felt depression because they were like, man, I'm going through it. I don't know what to do. So the best way to feel powerless and to feel victimized is to not have what you need and to not know what to do to get it. So like if you're out and you're hungry and you're lost and you don't know how to find your way to where you got to go and you don't know how to find food, that's like the worst feeling in the world. Same thing with money. If you ain't got no money and don't know how to go out and get money, then you're going to feel really stuck and really feel trapped. So what we believe is, and this is something I thought about for thousands and thousands of hours, in addition to the thousands of hours it took me to get my doctorate, is that for our children, we have to teach our children how to go out and get money. We have to teach our children how to spot opportunities, how to know where to go in order to get what they need, to get what they want, or whatever, right? Because a child like that, what happens is you could take somebody, if somebody's a self-made millionaire, what I have found is that for people like that, you could take away all their money and have them start over at the beginning like everybody else, in poverty like everybody else. And guess what? 3-4 years later, they'll have money again. They gravitate toward money. It's just like somebody who gravitates toward jail. Like, you ever see somebody that always seems to have problems in their life? Their life always seems to be a mess. They always seem to be in a bad situation. Well, because when you put them in a good situation, because of their mindset, they gravitate right back to where they feel most comfortable, right back to where their actions tend to lead them, because they have a certain philosophy of life that breeds chaos, that breeds destruction, that breeds problems. So you want your children to have a mindset that breeds opportunity. And so if your child knows how to go out and get money, then being broke isn't such a big deal. They just kind of say, man, I don't like being broke. I need to go fix this. And so So that's what we try to teach them. That's what we show them. There's ways to think about this system. I don't think that you're going to ever really get ahead by believing the Democrats that kind of tell you they're destined for poverty unless you vote for the right white man to put him in office. L.A. Kendrick says, I have a product. What is the best way to market or advertise? Any tips? Yeah, there are quite a few ways. I can't give you all the tips in one short conversation, but I can definitely say that I talked to somebody about that today. I said one of the biggest mistakes I see from a lot of black business owners is they put the bulk of their money into creating the product, but they have no budget for advertising. And I'm like, what did you think? People were just going to find it just because it's out there? No, some people believe if I build it, they will come. That's not true. You have to show people. You don't create the prettiest girl in the room and then not take her outside. You got to take her places where people are going to see how pretty she is. So same thing is true with your product. You have to market. I think social media marketing is a great way to go because it doesn't cost as much. Building networks online, things like that. Borrowing other people's networks as well can be beneficial. Doing a trade, a quid pro quo. If you want to actually ask financial questions and guarantee that I'll give you a videotape response specifically for you, we actually do have a low-cost financial coaching program at AskDrBoyce.com. It's at AskDrBoyce.com. The first month is free, and so you can go in there and ask questions, try it out, see if you like it, and if you don't like it, you can just unsubscribe. But it's a great way to ask business questions and get consulting in a way where I can do it for a group, because I do individual consulting, but not everybody is ready to be able to pay the cost, and we have to charge a fee because, believe me, if y'all saw how much our bills are, man, y'all would just be like, whoa. And here's the other thing too. I don't enjoy, for a long time, I didn't really feel comfortable even asking for money for anything that I did because I felt like that was wrong. But what happened was I got to the point where we couldn't pay our people. We couldn't pay our bills. And so my people were quitting because they were like, you need to pay us. Like, if you don't pay us, we're going to have to go work for the white man. And you're going to have to go beg the white man for money because you're not. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm not economically mature. I need to think like a business owner to fuel my activism. If you have activism and don't have a business model where you can make your money in an ethical way, then what's going to happen is you're going to keep having to beg the wrong people to pay your bills. And believe me, white folks and racist people are always lined up to come pay the bills of any black civil rights organization that'll take money. If Black Lives Matter showed up and said, we need somebody to pay for our rallies, oh, believe me, a whole lot of these corporations will be like, oh, absolutely, we love to support Black Lives Matter. But when people give you money, there's a trade, so that's why one of our general rules is that we don't really take that. We don't take any money at this point from corporations. We might consider it possibly, but we just don't even look for that. We don't solicit it. We don't solicit money from the government. We don't solicit money. We don't solicit like charity or money from white people usually. Not because we hate white people. We don't. We love black people, but we know that sometimes what happens is if somebody starts paying your bills, they want to dilute your message. They want to change what you can say. And Louis Farrakhan, somebody mentioned Louis Farrakhan just now. Rock LaVille X is mentioning the minister, and I think the minister is a great example of economic maturity because the minister, them brothers might be out there selling the bean pies or selling the Final Call newspaper. Well, that's how they get their financing without having to go beg white people to pay their bills. How else are they going to pay their bills if their community does not support them? So we have to really think about that in terms of pull, as Nightlife Kingdom is saying, pull your money together. He says, I tried to get my family to pull their money together, and the elders of my family were very upset and totally rejected it. I couldn't believe how mad it made people. Why is this? I'll tell you, man, it's hard to kind of break out of that mentality. That's why I'm giving a lecture on financial coonery, economic coonery when I go down to Houston next week. I feel like there's a whole lot of coonery that we've just inherited and we passed down to our children. Little things like, well, I don't invest in the stock market because I think the stock market's a fraud. Well, I'm not saying put all your money in the stock market. You can spread it out. But have you ever seen how much money people have made in the stock market over the last 120 years? Don't get me wrong. Anything can happen. Maybe one day it's just going to crash and burn and be gone. But it ain't happened yet. It hasn't come close to happening yet. It's declined, but those declines turned into amazing buying opportunities for people who just kept making purchases. Warren Buffett became a billionaire largely because he buys the most when everybody else is running away. He starts buying. His rule is simple. He says when people are running toward the market, you run away. When people are running away from the market, you run towards it. He buys stuff in distress. That's why That's why he makes, just like Mark Zuckerberg. He and Mark Zuckerberg make more money in a month than Diddy or Dre or all these other Negroes y'all worship will make in their whole entire life. Warren Buffett makes the net worth of Diddy, Dre, LeBron, Jay-Z, and Beyonce combined about every 3 or 4 months. He pisses out that much money. So I'm not saying those people aren't doing well. God bless them. They're doing well, but there's a lot of different ways to get wealth in this country and to build empires that go beyond just forming another record label. I mean, really, seriously. I mean, why? I mean, sometimes we put ourselves in the economic ghetto. We take ourselves out of the mainstream and we get trapped in these little industries. Like we living in the trap. I don't want to live in the trap. I want to have everything be available to us. Technology is where it's at, man. I'm telling you, like that's where it's technology and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the new MBA. Your child should know entrepreneurship before they go to college. Period. If they have a choice between going to college and learning to be a good entrepreneur, they should learn to be a good entrepreneur. If they had to choose one of the two, I'm not saying they should, but being a good entrepreneur means that you can make as much money as a college graduate and not have $100 and something thousand in debt or $80,000 in debt or whatever. So just be smart. Think broadly about all of this, because if you don't, you'll end up where everybody else is at. You know. So by the way, guys, I'm about to get out of here. I'm actually a little bit sleepy. If you live in Houston, I'm coming to Houston. The Financial Juneteenth Film and Edutainment Festival is going to be held in Houston. It's the first one we ever did, so it's going to be a blast. 3 straight days, nothing but me. Sign up at drboycehouston.com. If you take the class, you get to see Hidden Colors 4 for free, Resurrecting Black Wall Street for free, 3 lectures for free. So just sign up and take the class. It doesn't cost that much. It'll change your life. Also, if you want to join the coaching program where you can ask me any financial question right now, I'll answer it on video within 10 days. Go to askdrboyce.com. That's askdrboyce.com. The first month is free. You'll love that too. Everything that we create is designed to change your life. A lot of college classes are not designed that way. They're just designed to give you something to do. We design stuff that's going to make a difference because I have to be accountable to you. I can't screw you and then show up the next day on YouTube and have you still respect me. So everything we do has the best intention at heart. I guarantee you. All right, guys. Well, take care, and I will talk to you soon. I'm going to figure out how to shut this feed down because I'm just learning this technology. So thank you for helping me test this stuff out. I'm feeling quite swagged out now. I'm like the coolest scholar in the world right now. In my mind, I'm feeling like this guy ever. So take care, guys, and I love you.